Au revoir.
Only Fools and Horses is regarded as one of Britain's best comedy sitcoms. The renowned show, written by John Sullivan, follows the varying exploits of brothers Delboy and Rodney Trotter, along with their granddad and uncle. But how well do you know this classic comedy?
You pelonka!
Here are 15 facts you may not know. The falling chandelier scene was inspired by real life. The famous scene from 1982's The Touch of Glass episode in Series 2 was based on a real incident involving the undoing and smashing of a priceless chandelier.
Right. Now brace yourself, Rodney.
It had happened when Sullivan's father and 7 others were working as plumbers, and as a result they were all unceremoniously sacked. But unlike his dad, John thought the story was hilarious and wrote the whole episode with the iconic scene in mind. The chandelier in the Only Fools episode was of course only a prop, but still cost £6,000, and Nicholas was warned he would be sacked if he laughed during filming, as they couldn't afford a retake. John's father meanwhile found the scene hysterical. Legendary actor Jim Broadbent was John Sullivan's original choice to play Delboy. Jim was the preferred option to play Derek Trotter, but due to prior acting commitments, Broadbent was unavailable.
Horror of horrors?
Questions over who to replace Jim were solved, however, when producer Ray Butt saw David Jason play Granville in Open All Hours opposite Ronnie Barker. Sullivan needed a little persuading, but after Ray fought hard for David, John was eventually convinced that Jason would be perfect for the role.
Think we're on a winner here, Tree?
Of course, Jim's connection to Only Fools didn't end there, as he was later cast as Chief Inspector Roy Slater, dodgy copper, Raquel's estranged husband and Del's nemesis. There were plans for Delboy to go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. When the sitcom was revived in 2001, the biggest quiz show on TV was undoubtedly Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So naturally, when the script was written for Del to end up on a TV game show, there was interest in Derek attempting to win £1 million. Unfortunately, ITV, whose channel had exclusive broadcasting rights for the game show, couldn't agree on the terms with the BBC. So instead, we saw a fictional show titled Gold Rush with Jonathan Ross as host. Only Fools and Horses is hugely popular in Serbia. The classic British show is popular in countries that make up the former Yugoslavia, especially Serbia, but why? Well, much like in the UK, this sitcom is still repeated on occasion on Serbian TV, with one of the reasons for its surprising popularity said to be the similarities in architecture between the capital Belgrade and Peckham, London. Another is because many Serbians share the same dreamer mentality as Delboy, working hard to make ends meet but longing to become rich.
This time next year, we'll be millionaires.
John Challis, who played car salesman Boycie and visited Serbia several times, was also made an honorary citizen, and even had a street in Belgrade named him in his honour following his sad passing in 2021. One episode holds a UK audience record. The original finale episode, Time on Our Hands, holds the record for the UK's highest viewership record for a sitcom episode, with a massive 24.3 million people watching on Boxing Day 1996. The episode sees the brothers' old ambitions of becoming millionaires finally come to fruition, when by chance Delboy's father-in-law discovers a rare timepiece in the Trotter's garage.
God, I'm shaking.
After taking it to auction, they raised
$6.2 million.
Perhaps the sitcom should have ended there. David Jason helped design Delboy's legendary appearance. John Sullivan wrote the character Derek Trotter based on his own observations of East London unlicensed market traders, but David Jason helped model the character based on various characters he'd met when working as an electrician, including the wearing of large jewelry and coats. Fittingly, the costume designers would only dress David with fake jewelry that had to be replaced after every series because the gold paint would wear off. Lennard Pearce had a long acting career before playing Granddad. Lennard was thrilled to finally become famous after enjoying a diverse but mostly under-the-radar acting career that also saw him serve as an entertainer for the army during World War II. Noteworthily, Pearce had come face-to-face with Hitler in a Berlin theatre while on a tour in the late 1930s. Only Fools was originally to be called Reddies. When John Sullivan wrote the first episode, the title he had in mind was actually Reddies, slang for a £50 note. But despite initial opposition from the BBC, the name was scrubbed and changed to Only Fools and Horses, and although the meaning at first is quite obscure, it just feels right. The first series had a different theme tune. The original intro had instrumental music, with a more familiar theme starting with Series 2. One of the reasons for the change was because letters from viewers were landing at the BBC, asking what the show's name meant. But humorously, after the crucial change, some of the audience wrongly assumed that the man who sang the vocals was Nicholas Lyndhurst, who played Rodney, when it was actually sung by writer John Sullivan. Buster Merryfield had been a banker before acting. After the tragic loss of Lennard Pearce in December 1984, the team considered different options for replacing him, including a new character called Auntie Doris. but after much deliberation they instead settled on Uncle Albert, who, like Granddad, could also be bundled in the back of the Trotter's reliant Regal van. But Buster, who was relatively new to acting, was chosen to play him after producer Ray came across his headshot picture and thought he resembled Captain Birdseye, an iconic frozen foods mascot. The sitcom was accused of threatening education standards.
Oh, bloody hell.
Chris Woodhead, who was the UK's Chief Inspector of Schools in 1997, criticised the comedy at the time for its lack of morals. John Sullivan, of course, promptly and forcefully defended his creation, pointing out that the Trotters weren't violent, they didn't abuse drugs, and they were extremely family orientated. Further, John stated their antics were cleaner than many top business executives. The actress who played Denzel's wife Corinne died from an overdose. Corinne, Denzel's ferocious and no-nonsense wife, only starred once in the sitcom in 1983's Who's a Pretty Boy, when the Trotters offered to redecorate her and Denzel's apartment. Her fiery character is referenced again several times in following episodes, but never seen again, as her actress, Eva Motley, tragically died from a drug overdose 2 years after her one and only appearance. Instead of writing the character off, John felt she could continue through various anecdotes told by Denzel. Raquel was only planned for one episode. In the special, 1988 states, Del Boy joins a dating agency and gets matched with actress Raquel Turner. The date goes very well, but Derek later discovers that Raquel is more than just a stage performer. Still, Del decides to give their relationship another try, but is prevented from stopping her leaving London when he's inconveniently arrested. There, the character Raquel was planned to be out of the show for good, but 1 year on, John had a slight change of heart, and so permanently brought her back to the sitcom, starting with the classic '89 special, Jolly Boys Outing, when Dale and Raquel are reunited in a Margate club. An actual newborn baby was used to play baby Damien. In the final episode of Series 7, 3 Man, a Woman and a Baby, Dale and Raquel welcome the newest member of the Trotter family.
Congratulations, son.
What is it, Del?
It's a little baby.
The scene for Damien's arrival was filmed in real-life Hillington Hospital, Uxbridge, and the chosen baby was found after a production member entered the maternity ward and asked who would like to lend their newborn to the BBC. Further, before filming the hospital scenes, the cast and Sun crew watched a video of a real birth, which Buster Merryfield admitted made him feel sick. David Beckham starred in a 2014 special charity episode. The most famous star to appear in Only Fools and Horses is undoubtedly legendary footballer David Beckham, who was in a 10-minute long 2014 Sports Relief special. Although not a full episode, David featured alongside Dale and Rodney as the Trotters sought to sell some special Golden Balls underwear, supposedly endorsed by the British football icon.
What a plonker.
The episode was written by John Sullivan's sons, Jim and Dan, as John had unfortunately passed away in 2011, but the script included previously unused material by John. Roger Lloyd Pack was also due to reprise his role as Trigger and appear walking into Sid's cafe, saying his famous
All right, Dave.
towards Rodney and David as they sat together. Unfortunately, Roger missed filming due to illness and died days later. So those are 15 facts about Only Fools and Horses. There are many other facts about Only Fools and Horses that you might also not know though, including the fact that Liz Hurley was considered to play Rodney's wife Cassandra, but was passed for the role because it was felt she was too glamorous for the part. Drop a comment with your favourite facts or episodes of Only Fools and Horses, and why not look at the channel page for more videos on classic British comedy, including a rundown of the top 5 Only Fools and Horses episodes. Thanks for watching and cheerio!